James Van Der Beek has passed away at the age of 48, and this is the kind of story that feels like it hits a whole generation right in the heart. His wife Kimberly shared the news in an emotional post, explaining that he died after battling colorectal cancer, leaving behind her and their 6 children. For many of us, he'll always be Dawson Leery, but behind the character was a real man whose life, family, and career meant far more than any one role. James' journey to becoming a household name didn't start with Dawson's Creek. Before that, he was grinding like every other young actor, landing roles in shows like Clarissa Explains It All and the soap As the World Turns. Those early appearances might have seemed small at the time, but they were the stepping stones that led him to the role that would define his career. In January 1998, Dawson's Creek premiered on the WB, introducing James as Dawson alongside Katie Holmes, Joshua Jackson, and Michelle Williams. The series ran for 6 seasons until May 2003, capturing the messy, emotional, and complicated lives of teenagers in a way that felt new for TV back then. Even years after the show ended, the impact of Dawson's Creek never really faded. In September 2025, the cast reunited for a special one-night-only reading of the pilot at the Richard Rodgers Theater in New York, raising money for the charity F Cancer. It should have been a simple nostalgic celebration, but in hindsight, that night carries a different weight. The evening before the event, James announced on Instagram that he wouldn't be able to attend because he was dealing with 2 stomach viruses. He still appeared in a video message played for the crowd, while his wife Kimberly and their children took the stage in his place alongside Lin-Manuel Miranda, who read his part. At the time, it seemed like a temporary setback. Now, knowing what he was privately going through, that absence feels far more significant. After Dawson's Creek, James could easily have been typecast as the teen heartthrob forever, but he refused to stay in that box. He moved into films like Varsity Blues, and continued to pick up memorable roles over the years, including more recent projects such as Overcompensating. He showed he could lean into drama, comedy, and everything in between, often playing with or against the image people had of him. But as his career evolved, something else quietly became the true center of his life: fatherhood. James and Kimberly welcomed their first child, daughter Olivia, in September 2010, just 1 month after they got married. When he announced her birth, he wrote that he'd had the blessing of becoming a father and that even if he had 140 million characters, he still couldn't describe the bliss he felt. That one line said a lot about where his heart really was. Over the years, their family grew to include 6 children: Olivia, Joshua, Annabelle, Amelia, Gwendolyn, and Jeremiah. In interviews and posts, it was clear that being a dad wasn't just a side note to his career, it was his biggest and most meaningful role. His battle with colorectal cancer, like so many health struggles, mostly happened away from the spotlight. Fans saw glimpses, missed events, health updates, and moments that suggested something serious was going on, but the full weight of what he was going through wasn't always visible. That's often how it is with illness. The public sees the headlines, but the real story plays out in hospitals, quiet nights at home, and small, precious moments with family. The fact that his final big Dawson's Creek moment had to happen by video while his wife and kids stood on stage in his place says so much about who he had become. His legacy wasn't just about fame, it was about love, resilience, and showing up for his family however he could. Now, as fans process the news, his life story feels like a mix of nostalgia, gratitude, and heartbreak. For people who grew up watching Dawson's Creek, this isn't just the loss of an actor, it's the loss of someone who was woven into their teenage years, their first crushes, their late-night reruns, and their favorite scenes. For others, it's the story of a man who never stopped working, never stopped evolving, and never stopped prioritizing the people he loved most. James Van Der Beek leaves behind a body of work that helped define an era, but more importantly, he leaves behind a family that clearly meant everything to him. If you're watching this, take a moment to remember what his work meant to you. Maybe it was a specific episode, a line, a scene, or just the way his characters made you feel less alone. And if there's one thing his story reminds
Olivia,
us of,
in
it's how
September
fragile and
2010,
precious
1 month
time really
after the
is.
couple got married.
Rest
James
in
wrote on
peace,
X at
James
the
Van
time,
Der Beek.
quote, "Had the blessing
Your
of
work,
becoming a
your
father over
kindness,
the weekend.
and your legacy as
Couldn't
both an
come
artist
close
and a
to
father
describing
won't be
this
forgotten."
bliss."